Hello, Tuba Hero 37 here. Today I'd like to talk about some Patterns of Justice Monk farm builds that I've been using on the PTR, including a build that I didn't think of until a few days ago, but it might be a good choice for paragon farming if you want to farm solo on the Monk in Season 22. Alright, so since I always use a Squirts build with Molten Wildebeest, I'm not prioritizing any vitality or percent life rolls on gear, although some of them I have incidentally just because they were well rolled in other ways. So things like life per second actually gives you bigger shields. For the sake of not dropping squirts, this armor roll and this life per second roll gives my squirts more uptime than, increasing my life pool by 50%, which is probably likely by getting a vitality and percent life roll. But then squirts would be dropping off, so I'd deal less damage. On the flip side, now if squirts ever does drop off and my health starts dipping, I only have a tiny pool of life. So maybe on hardcore I'd go a little bit above this, but actually in the dozens of hours of farming I've done, I only died one time on the PTR, and that was the exact same reasons that would be with a big health pool. I fell in a Molten, and then some Grotesques blew up. So a big life pool doesn't necessarily even save you from those situations. You just play smarter when you're on hardcore and don't get blown up twice in the same minute. So in the past, when I wanted to do like 2-minute 20 runs or so, where a lot of them are under 2 minutes, and the bad ones are closer to 3, but just probably 215 to 225 on average, I would always wear or cube Nemesis Bracers and Caesars. So just whichever one you have better rolled, you get to wear. Usually at the beginning of the season, at least, you'd be wearing Nemesis, because they don't have a legendary power range, and that guarantees the max damage on the Caesars. In those scenarios, especially early season, you're going to have a hard time keeping squirts up because you don't have enough armor, or perhaps you don't have any ancient gear, you don't have gear with resistance on it. So early season, it's really hard to actually make this build function with low stats and stuff. So that's why sometimes even early season for the speed farming, I'll wear Caesars and I'll go Mantle of Channeling in the cube. But mid-season, I do that as I go higher in the tiers when they're more like 3.5 minutes on average to 4 minutes. Then I will just drop Nemesis altogether and throw on Mantle of Channeling. It increases your damage and also increases your squirts uptime. Next season, you can do both. So this is what I started off right away. I actually played a little bit of Crusader right at the beginning of PTR, but when I switched to Monk, I was kind of surprised with a very low main stat that I had back then and everything. I was having no trouble with squirts uptime by just having the Mantle of Channeling addition. So yeah, this is one of those situations where you used to choose, do I want Nems or do I want Mantle? And now you can do both. If you get to the point where you don't need the toughness of Mantle anymore, you could go, like I had just imagined, you could go COE, but that's kind of crap for speed farming. You could go Furnace, you could go Lefebvre's even if you were going higher tier and you want even more squirts uptime. That would be, help with that. But you might as well just get the toughness and the damage of Mantle in that situation. But then something else occurred to me. So I was leaning towards Furnace, but for these higher runs, I thought I'd try Flying Dragon. So the way Flying Dragon works is it just has a chance to do this at any given time, double your attack speed while attacking. And you don't actually have to hit anything, so maybe we can actually see it in town. So we got 1.75 attacks on one of our hands. I got to bring the stats back up. And it might just kick on. There it goes. It doubled our attacks per second. And that should double our damage with Tempest Rush. Now, you can actually re-proc this while it's procced. So if, it would have gone an average of once every 10 seconds, that means that while you have doubled attack speed, it's going to happen an average of once every 5 seconds. So it's one of those things where just having a higher base attack speed, as close to 2.5 as you can get, equals higher uptime. You'll always trickle back into it, and then it'll stay capped, and so that'll make it easier for it just always stay on, because it could re-trigger, and it'll have more chance to re-trigger if you're attacking more often. So if we go to just a random zone, since I've got Echoing Fury in the build, let's kill some stuff. There you go. So 2.8 and 2.57 is what I have with 5 Echoing Fury stacks. That means that if my attack speed doubles, it should go to 5.6, and 5.14, but it never will because it caps at 5.0. So let's see if we can get that quick. I can't see where I'm going, so I'm just kind of hoping I'm running into enemies. So far, no good. It is kind of funny, I just happened to have exactly a 100% attack speed increase, and there it was, 5.0. So now we got 7.7 mils sheet. Now that is not quite doubled because it hit that cap. So actually anything over 2.5 is a little bit of a waste with Flying Dragon, but I think it's still okay. So one swap that I made was I dropped Seize the Initiative because with a 75% attack speed from my Echoing Fury, I'm actually over 2.5 on both weapons without Seize the Initiative. So I don't have attack speed on my Obsidian Ring. There is attack speed on the Echoing Fury. I think I might have found it on Crusader, or maybe it dropped with Int or something. And it just like had really good on all the other rolls anyway, so I just threw Dex on it because early season you need Dex a lot more than anything else. But anyway, if it didn't have that 7% attack speed, this hand wouldn't make it to 5 attacks per second. And I think that would be okay. It still probably would be better to get area damage or cooldown on there. So now we have Flying Dragon, which basically doubles our damage. But what is the uptime? So I'm going to run a GR 109 with my stats open. So again, not really being able to see anything. I'm not really going to be looking at this, but check out how often it's at that 7 million plus number. I thought maybe it'd be up like half the time, but when I was looking at it in the past, it was actually up quite a bit. This is a 109 with 13,000 dex, which is very low. I have the one aug because I share some Captain Crimson stuff on my push build. So really, like, if you were 3,000 Paragon and fully auged, you'd probably have about double the dex. Therefore, you could be doing whatever I'm about to do in this 109 in a 114 late season. So that's pretty exciting if this is fast at all. Okay, so we're going to bring up our... Actually, we don't need the attack speed. We can just look at sheet damage. That gives me more screen. So this is where we're at with Echoing Fury, 4 million. When it spikes to almost 8 million, that means Flying Dragon is up. There it is. So Flying Dragon is up. Still up. And it's down. If you really wanted to be sneaky, you could actually play with that open and only do your explosions while Flying Dragon is up. But I don't know how well that would work. I can't see, so I'm bringing it back down now. So Flying Dragon's up. We're doing double damage. Still doing double damage. This is a 109 with basically no augs. I do have a primal weapon and an ancient weapon, though the rest of my gear isn't that great. But yeah, so it's probably better gear than you would normally have at 1700 Paragon. But again, no augs. Well, except the one. Wish I had a little bit more open maps, but we got Flying Dragon up again. That's a little Squirt's downtime. There we go. Hope this is the right way. I gotta see where I'm going. It's up again. We do have the clones also helping us kill fast, so you know, depending on your pylon spawns, you might get some really good runs with any build on these lower tiers. They don't really help that much when you're pushing, though, so I like that system, where they're really nice when you're farming and inconsequential to your fishing. Alright, it's been down a little while. Come on, Flying Dragon. There it goes. So that was a longer break. Conduit. I want to be able to see where I'm going. Flying Dragon is up. Yeah, wrong way. Exit. Oops. Meant to hit I, hit something else. Alright, we got a clone to help with this floor. Oh, we're almost spawned actually. So I'm just gonna hold on to my current Tempest Rush stacks. Hopefully one-shot-ish the boss. Oh no. Okay, we at least got a good hit. Nice. So that was under 4 minutes with arguably really bad maps and stuff. A conduit at least, and we did eventually get some other pylons that helped. Really bad maps and stuff. I was obviously trying to manage this stuff, which makes it a lot more complicated. So that probably could have been like a 3.5 minute 109 with 13,395 dexterity. Just in case you wonder what my other stats are, like I'm a little low on crit chance, crit damage. I do have a area damage roll that I didn't really try too hard for on the shoulders. Like, these are my rolls. Really good Wong Kim Lao. I was kind of jealous that that reforged so easily on the PTR when they never do. Oh man, I stopped at 10% Tempest Rush on the helm. So yeah, a lot of this stuff I wasn't really try-harding when I started rolling it. The weapons I wanted to at least get Ancient though for farming. And not a trifecta next. So really this might actually, apart from this weapon, this might be gear that you could have by 1700 Paragon in a season. Alright, so just for fun, I thought I'd see how this does on a really good map, and the very next one I opened just happened to be Festering Woods, so let's see how this goes. Same build. Let's see how we go when we're not focusing so much on the stats and stuff. Got an Oculus. I feel like we have... There's a pylon. Okay, yeah, so no NEMs means no spawn from the pylon, but we do get a clone to help. Dang. I missed one corner, but I feel like I got about all the elites. Like, maybe there was one over there, but it seems just as likely I found them all. Aw, man. So much for being like a super fast one. Maybe if we get power soon, we can keep our pace. Actually, the mob type's not too bad. And one nice thing about Squirt's builds and bad maps where there's not a lot of enemies around you at a given time is it's a lot easier to keep your double damage at least. So it's like you get surrounded by a ton of enemies, and even without the double damage, you're still pretty efficient. Okay, but I'll take another desert. Another open map. I've had what, one pylon? Well, and every time I go to comment on them, another pylon shows up. So, how about pylon number 3? Eh? Where's number 3? That didn't work. Two more %. Oh yeah, we should have been holding our Tempest Rush stacks for longer than that. At least we won't have to worry about dropping squirts. Also don't have CC initiative in this build, so actually there's no reason not to pop more often. So that was 304 with a Corvus middle floor. Otherwise, I definitely could have been sub 3. Same build. They still don't show the 4th cube slot here, but Flying Dragon. So that was that build in a 109 with 13,000 dexterity. I did some quick estimating, and with a little over 3,000 paragon and with 120 augs, you would have the same damage to be able to do the same amount to enemies in a 114 late season. But you'd actually be doing a lot, much better than I was just doing, because that extra armor, that extra 13,000 armor, would mean that your squirts is up much more often than it was for me. So yeah, this build would be really good for farming next season. Maybe even as good as solo GOD. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you later.